Hello everyone, today's chapter is in psychology is attention and consciousness. So quickly go and subscribe this channel for more psychology sessions. Basis of attention. Selective attention is focusing on one thing among many. The first cartoon shows a person surrounded by multiple thought bubbles with only one highlighted. This represents selective attention, where our brain chooses specific information to process while ignoring other stimuli. Everyday examples including reading in a noisy room or listening to one friend in a crowded cafe. Divided attention is trying to do two things at once. Here two kids are talking, but one is distracted by a loud TV. Divided attention referring to distributing focus across multiple tasks. While humans can multitask to some extent, performance usually drops when tasks require similar cognitive resources. The spotlight model of attention. Highlighting important info, a cartoon brain shining a spotlight on one object demonstrates the spotlight metaphor. Just like a physical spotlight, attention highlights certain sensory information for deeper processing while leaving the rest dimmed or ignored. Inattentional blindness. Missing what's right in front of you. A person walking while texting bumps into a hole. This illustrates inattentional blindness, the failure to notice visible but unexpected stimuli because attention is directed elsewhere. Classic experiments include the invisible gorilla task. Cognitive load. Too much info can overwhelm attention. A person at a desk with notifications popping up illustrates that a brain has limited processing capacity. Cognitive load is the mental effort required to process information, and too much load can lead to mistakes or missed information. Multitasking. Attention gets divided and efficiency drops. A person juggling books and phones shows how multitasking spreads attention thin. Research indicates that task switching often slows performance and increases errors, demonstrating attention's limited nature. Mindfulness. Training attention and awareness. A cartoon person meditating shows mindfulness, a practice that improves focus and conscious awareness. Mindfulness strengthens attention by training the brain to notice and return focus to the present moment. Controlled processing. Conscious, effortful attention, a brain with gears turning while reading highlights. Controlled processing, where tasks require deliberate, conscious focus, like learning a new skill or solving a complex problem. Automatic processing. Actions done without conscious thought. A person riding a bike while daydreaming represent automatic processing, where well-practiced tasks become unconscious, freeing cognitive resources for other activities. Visual attention. Focusing on important visual cues. An eye looking at a colorful object emphasizes visual attention, the ability to select relevant visual information from the environment while filtering out irrelevant stimuli. Attention in different modalities. Auditory attention. Filtering what we hear. A person listening with an exaggerated ear represents the ability to focus on specific sounds while ignoring background noise. For example, listening to a lecture while ignoring nearby chatter. Change blindness. Not noticing obvious changes. A person noticing a change in a room illustrates change blindness, when large visual changes go unnoticed without focused attention, highlighting attention's selective role. Selective focus. Our attention highlights key info. A spotlight on a book amid other dim objects demonstrates selective focus, showing how attention prioritizes certain stimuli for processing, similar to a camera focusing on a single subject. Feature integration theory. Attention binds feature into objects. A thought bubble with many ideas, one glowing, represents feature integration theory, which explains that attention combines features like color, shape, and size into coherent objects for perception. Consciousness. Awareness of ourselves and environment. A person dreaming with clouds above represent consciousness, the state of being aware of internal thoughts and external surroundings, forming the foundation for attention to operate. Levels of consciousness. Awake, asleep, and altered states. A brain with light bulbs and clouds symbolizes different levels of consciousness, from full alertness to sleep and altered states like meditation or hypnosis. Sleep. Essential for brain attention and processing. A person yawning at night emphasizes the role of sleep in restoring attention, memory, and cognitive functions. Sleep deprivation reduces alertness and selective attention. Altered state. Changes in awareness or perception. A hypnotized person demonstrates altered states of consciousness, which can involve heightened focus, relaxation, or changes in perception, often used therapeutically or experimentally. Selective attention in vision. Picking out important items. A person noticing a red apple among green ones shows visual selective attention, where salient features like color or motion capture focus. Cocktail party effect. Focusing on one conversation in noise. Two people talking in a noisy environment illustrates the cocktail party effect, where selective attention allows us to focus on a single conversation amid multiple auditory stimuli. How attention is captured and controlled. Attentional capture. Sudden events grab your focus. A screen with glowing notifications demonstrates attentional capture, where unexpected or salient stimuli involuntarily draw focus, often overriding current task. Top-down attention, driven by goals and knowledge. A brain with two paths, one bright, represents top-down attention, where focus is guided by intentions, goals, and prior knowledge, like searching for your friend in a crowd. Bottom-up attention, driven by stimuli in environment. A brain with a magnet pulling objects shows bottom-up attention, which is stimulus-driven, capturing attention automatically due to features like bright colors or loud noises. Divided attention can fail. Distractions reduce performance. A person reading while a dog barks highlights the limit of divided attention, showing that distractions can impair task performance. Mind wandering. Attention drifts from task. A student daydreaming in class represents mind wandering, when attention shifts from the current task to unrelated thoughts, affecting learning and performance. Alertness. Readiness to notice and respond. A ringing alarm clock symbolizes alertness, the state of being ready to detect and respond to stimuli, which fluctuates with fatigue or sleep deprivation. Attentional control. Managing what you pay attention to. A brain adjusting dials demonstrates attentional control, the ability to regulate focus and shift between tasks or stimuli effectively. Visual search. Locating targets among distractions. Searching for keys on a messy desk illustrates visual search, a process requiring attention to identify relevant targets amid irrelevant items. Unexpected stimuli grab attention. A surprised person noticing something unexpected highlights novel stimuli, which automatically attract attention even if not relevant to current goals. Selective hearing. Choosing what to listen to. A person focusing on one screen or voice demonstrates selective auditory attention, filtering irrelevant noise to process meaningful information. Interaction between attention and consciousness. Change detection. Spotting differences over time. Flashing text in a book represents change detection, showing that conscious attention is required to perceive temporal differences. Conscious versus unconscious processing. A brain half asleep, half awake illustrates the distinction between conscious, aware, and unconscious automatic processing of information. Sleep deprivation reduces attention. A person dozing at a desk demonstrates that lack of sleep impairs alertness, attention, and cognitive function. Shifting attention. Moving focus from one thing to another. A spotlight moving across objects represents attentional shifting, essential for dynamic environments where focus must move between relevant stimuli. Attention enhances neural processing. A cartoon neuron lighting up shows that attention strengthens neural activity, improving perception, memory, and task performance. Selective visual attention helps detect patterns. A person noticing color changes illustrates how focused attention allows the brain to detect patterns and trends in complex visual environments. Focus attention meditation improves concentration. Meditation imagery shows that focus attention training can enhance cognitive control and reduce the mind wandering. Attention is limited. Multitasking often fails. A distracted cook illustrates that attention is finite and spreading it too thin leads to mistake and reduce efficiency. Attentional filter. Brain filters irrelevant info. A person ignoring background distractions demonstrates the attentional filter, allowing important stimuli to pass while irrelevant inputs are suppressed. Consciousness during sleep. Dreams as altered awareness. A dreaming person highlights that even in sleep, consciousness exists in altered forms, allowing experiences like dreams. Mechanism of attention. Conscious processing requires effort. A brain with a spotlight gear shows that conscious attention is effortful. Unlike automatic processing, require active mental resources. Attention increases brain activation. Neuron firing under spotlight illustrates that attended stimuli generate stronger neural responses supporting perception and memory. A person noticing a friend in a crowd show how attention shapes what we perceive, highlighting irrelevant stimuli while filtering out others. Attentional bottleneck. Only some info passes through a thought bubble blocked by distractions. Represent the bottleneck theory, where limited attention restricts the amount of information processed. Focused attention. Ignoring background distractions. A person reading a book while the world fades behind shows focused attention critical for learning and performing tasks requiring precision. Awareness. Conscious attention to thoughts and feelings. Meditating person with glowing head shows awareness a core part of consciousness, allowing reflection and deliberate action. Attentional blink. A momentary gap in detecting stimuli. Rapid blinking at a computer illustrates attentional blink, where processing one stimulus temporarily prevents noticing another. Conscious awareness can be switched on or off. Brain cartoon with on switch represents controlled engagement of consciousness, for example, becoming alert when needed. Selective listening. Tuning into relevant sounds. A person focusing on a single street sound shows how auditory attention filters out irrelevant noise for efficient processing. Attention enhances memory encoding. A spotlight on words illustrates that attended stimuli are more likely to be encoded into memory, linking attention to learning. Advanced attention concepts. Temporal attention. Timing affects focus. A cartoon clock emphasizes that attention has a temporal dimension, with optimal movements for detecting and processing stimuli. Pop-out effect. Some features grab attention automatically. A red object among blue ones illustrates pop-out, where distinctive features capture attention effortlessly. Cognitive control. Choosing what to focus on. Multiple thought bubbles show that attention requires executive control, deciding what deserves focus among competing options. Overt attention. Physically looking at something, eye zooming an object demonstrates overt attention, where gaze direction matches focus of attention. Covert attention. Focus without moving eyes. Spotlight in head without eye movement shows covert attention, shifting focus internally without observable eye movement. Attention determines what we perceive. Color change noticed while distracted emphasizes that perception is not passive but guided by what we attend to. Unconscious mind processes information too. Brain cartoon with a small light and dark area shows that unconscious processes operate in the background, supporting behavior and perception. Attention eliminates important stimuli. A dark room with one glowing object illustrates how attention highlights relevant information, similar to shining a spotlight in darkness. Attention shapes conscious experience. Multicolored thought bubbles emphasize that our conscious experience is molded by attention, determining what we perceive, think, and remember. Concentration. Attention applied to achieve goals. A smiling person focused on a puzzle shows concentration, the sustained application of attention toward completing a task or achieving objectives. So quickly go and subscribe this channel for the next psychology session.